I was 17 when she came. I'd been living with my abusive mother for 17 long, painful years. It was around midnight, and my mother was already asleep, so when the 3 soft raps at the front door came, it was me who answered. An odd-looking, but really beautiful little girl stood there, with cheeks pale and colorless, blonde braided hair, and a pink dress torn a little at the hem, bare feet turning slightly blue from the cold of winter, and black eyes. Fathomless, deep black eyes. I quickly let her in, thinking of how horridly undressed she was for the season. It wasn't until later that I'd wonder why she had not been shivering or even questioned as to why she was there in the first place. I got her into the living room, sat her down on the couch, and wrapped her little form in a thick afghan my grandmother knitted. She held it, feeling it. I smiled. "What's your name, honey?" A long silence passed in which she stared at me. I was beginning to be discomforted by her black gaze when she parted her lips and spoke in a very soft voice. "Lacey Morgan?" I nodded, smiling again. "All right, Lacey, well, you can stay here with me tonight," I said, motioning to the couch. She curled up in a little ball, black eyes still fixed on me, and I exited the room. That night I slept soundly, not worrying about my mother beating me or the strange little girl on my couch. When morning came, I trudged into the kitchen. I was greeted with a coffee mug to the shoulder. I gave a feeble shout of pain, staring angrily at my mother. "What the hell did you do? Why is there dirt on my couch?" she shouted, confusing me greatly. Upon investigating, I found that Lacey had vanished. The only proof she had been there was some dirt that must have fallen off her dress or her feet. I took responsibility, earning myself a strong hit to my cheek, and left for school. While there, I heard something that sent chills through my spine. Lacey Morgan was found dead last night at 322 Evergreen Terrace. I passed the day waiting for any more news about the subject, but found none. Upon arriving home, it was broadcasting a live report on her. Lacey Morgan, 6 years of age, was reported dead at 7 o'clock last night. Her body was located in the backyard of her house, buried there in her pink dress. So far, there's been no sign of her mother, Marissa Morgan, who is suspected to be the killer. Marissa reportedly abused Lacey multiple times, and may be responsible for her death. Suddenly, a picture of Lacey appeared on the screen. She was very close to how she had been when I met her. Blonde hair, pink dress, pale face, only her cheeks had color, and her eyes were sky blue. To most, this would seem unimportant, but to me, it was. She died before arriving at my house, if what the newscaster said was true. She died hours before. I tried to play it off, going about my business. I went to bed early so as not to have to see my mother. It was around midnight when I awoke to cool fingers stroking the bruise on my cheek. I sighed, leaning into the small hand. "Never again," Lacey whispered before her hand vanished. Not 10 minutes later, I heard Mother screaming. I rushed to her bedroom, nearly fainting at what I saw. My mother was thrashing wildly on her bed, a small creature having buried its face into her chest. I could hear the sound of flesh tearing and blood oozing. My mother's screaming increased in volume. I wished I hadn't gotten up. Later on, I'd tell myself I hadn't, that it was a dream, but I had. So when Lacey pulled back from the gaping hole in my mother's chest cavity, I had a plain view of her razor-sharp teeth glinting in the light. Glinting with my mother's blood. She smiled innocently at me for a moment before swiftly tearing out my mother's jugular vein. That time I did faint, and when I came to, I was in my bed. I walked to my mom's room, morbid curiosity getting the best of me. Was it just a dream? Upon opening the door, I found the room empty. The bed made neatly, as if my mom had left for work early. The only oddities were the child's dirty footprints and the open window, showing that Lacey had in fact visited last night. I never saw my mother again, and I never missed her either. She can rot in hell for all I care. I eventually got married, and we had a child together. I named her Lacey. Recently, I noticed the neighbor's daughter has all sorts of scrapes and bruises on her arms. I've been watching their home. The other day, I saw something odd. A little girl running barefoot through their backyard up to their back door. It was around midnight, so I couldn't say for sure, but I thought she met my eyes with hers, and they were black as coal, and I could swear she mouthed 2 words to me. Never again. Hi, 207. It's Miss Viola Swamp. Thanks for listening, commenting, and subscribing. Go check out my Facebook page and leave suggestions for stories you want to hear. I hope to see you in class next time.